What's up, everybody? It's Matt with Deer and Donuts, and today we are going to save you some money. Now, if you're budget minded like I try and be most of the time, I can let you know that hunting is not the endeavor for you. It's not a cheap thing to get into. If you're new to the backcountry hunting, it is an overwhelming gear list. So with that being said, I've already given my top 5 things that you want to spend a little bit more money on as you assemble your gear. I'll throw that link in the bio if you want to check out that video. But that money has to come from somewhere. So today we're going to cover the 5 things that you can skimp on just a little bit and probably still be just fine. Now, I want you guys to learn from my mistakes because most of these things on the list are ones that I made a minor oopsie on. But really, like I said, they're 5 things that are probably not going to greatly change your success rates and your comfort level for the hunts. Now, just like last time, we're gonna start in reverse order. So we're gonna start at number 5. And for me, number 5 is your knife. Now, a knife is an absolutely crucial piece of gear. Do not get me wrong, that's why it's fairly high up on this list. But I think people really overspend on their knives. They wanna cut maybe an ounce or two, have this cool skeletonized handle, and some steel that I've never heard of for their blade. Now, all those things are great if you have the money to spend on them, but you're a new backcountry hunter and you're trying to get all this gear together. So again, I think this is someplace you can skimp. The difference between a heavy knife and a light knife is not enough to make or break you. And for most people doing one animal, a steel crazy high up on the hardness scale that's gonna have really, really good edge retention is not worth enough money to start spending $200-300 on a knife. Just go home and sharpen it or bring a knife sharpener with you. So I think this is one of the items where you guys can cut back a little bit and probably dump it into one of the more important things. Now, number 4 for me is a rangefinder. Absolutely crucial piece of gear again, but I think people way overspend on this. You don't need a rangefinder that's $600-700 and goes all the way out to 5,000 yards. I don't know that I would even be able to accurately find the animal in my 3x rangefinder at 5,000 yards. Now, with all this being said, you definitely need to get something that goes out as far, or honestly even a little bit farther, than what you plan on shooting at. It is nice to have that little bit of added range to see that, hey, that deer that I see is maybe just 200 yards out of my range. I just need to move a little bit. But for the most part, those crazy rangefinders that give you insane distances, mostly irrelevant to most hunting situations. Now, again, this is somewhat high up on my list because if you spend a little bit of money on it, it's not the end-all be-all of bad mistakes. A rangefinder can be used in a lot of different situations depending on what your hobbies are. I don't like golf, but I know people use it for them. Long range shooting, things of that nature, it can double for a lot of things. So if you have something where it's relevant to that, go ahead and spend that money. I think number 3 is probably gonna rile some people up, but we're gonna go with it anyway. And that's camouflage clothing.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
Now, I'm not saying don't wear camouflage clothing. Don't take it that way. But what I am saying is don't be brand or pattern specific or something like that. Get high quality clothing that's gonna keep you comfortable in the field. But honestly, the camo pattern doesn't matter a ton. People have been fighting about Realtree versus mossy oak for years, and both of them have killed a pile of deer. So whether you like Sitka, Kuiu, First Light, whatever it may be, find something that's on sale that you can save a little bit of money on that's gonna keep you comfortable in the backcountry and pull the trigger. The camo pattern does not matter. Now, before I get into number 2 and number 1, I'm gonna give you guys a hidden thing that you can save some money on that's gonna improve your success rates. And that's a free subscription to the Deer and Donuts YouTube page. Now, all joking aside, guys, we have been growing a community here. It's been really cool to watch you guys interact in the comments, go with some back and forth, and kind of help people learn as they go. But with that being said, YouTube really throttles back some of the things we can do as content creators based on number of subscribers. So we'd like to get some more cool content out to you, and a subscriber number is really gonna help us with that. So if you're new to the page, liking what you're seeing, jump on down, hit that subscribe button. Now let's talk about number 2. And number 2 for me, it's not really a gear list, but it is something you need to think about. All right, and that's points. Now, for those of you unaware, most Western states do draw odds based on a point system, whether they call it preference points or bonus points or whatever the case may be. Like New Mexico is one of the few ones that you just have random odds all the time. For the most part, you got to build points to draw for animals. Now that's not all bad. I get you got to build some points, but we really encourage here tags, not gear, and getting out into the woods. So some species it's needed, getting out, going after a goat or a moose or something like that, you're probably going to have to save points for a really long time. I understand that. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about you're saving for 14 years to go after elk in Colorado. Now, if you're doing over the counter during that time, great. You're still getting out there. But what I am talking about is the people that say, hey, I want this one unit and I'm going to wait 27 years to do it. Man, during that 27 years, you could have drawn a lot of tags and had a lot of fun with your family and friends. So even if this is something you decide to spend a boatload of money on and a boatload of years, at least think about how you want to do it and maybe get out there a little bit more often. Now, number one for me is leaps and bounds further than everything else on this list. And it should be as my number one, but the gap between one and the rest of them is much bigger than any of the other gaps. And that is the weapon you use, whether it's your bow, rifle, muzzleloader, whatever the case may be. People drop insane amounts of money into it. I'm just as guilty. I have a very expensive rifle in my collection. But the thing is, for most people, unless you are a trained sniper or something like that, that rifle or that bow, muzzleloader, whatever the case may be, can way outshoot your abilities. Now, I was a pretty good shot in the Marine Corps, had expert badges and all that stuff, but I can tell you the difference between my very expensive rifle and one of my budget rifles at realistic hunting distances with my skills is not enough to justify the cost for that really expensive rifle. Now, I still have it because it's fun to play with and it's fun to go out at crazy distances sometimes with it. But in real world situations, realistic hunting distances, the difference between that budget Ruger American and a custom built bolt gun is not going to be that much. And it's probably not going to make the difference in you being successful at that point. So this is the biggest thing where buy something that you are comfortable with, that you are accurate with, and don't feel like you need to drop $3,000-$4,000 into something special or a carbon bow or I don't know. I'm not real big into the muzzleloader game, so I don't know what the custom muzzleloader is. But whatever the case may be, don't drop a ton of money into this at the beginning. Now that's it. 5 through 1 on things that you can save some money on as you jump into this new world and try and get all your gear together. Now I'm going to call on you experienced hunters now. Jump into the comment section. Let me know what you have overspent on. Maybe you got a funny story for it. We'd love to hear it. So until next time, again, I'm Matt with Deer and Donuts. Jump on down, like, subscribe, all the things that YouTube makes us ask for, and I'll catch you guys next time.